What is the difference threshold, JND, in perception? Imagine you're in a room with two lights. One is just a little brighter than the other. How much brighter does it need to be before you notice the difference? That tiny change is what we call the difference threshold, or the just noticeable difference. It's a fascinating part of how our senses work. The difference threshold is the smallest amount by which two stimuli must differ for us to detect that they are not the same at least half the time. For example, if you hold two weights, it's the smallest weight difference you can feel reliably. If one weight is just a little heavier than the other, that's the JND. It's not about the absolute strength of the stimulus, but about the change from what you already perceive. This threshold varies depending on the type of sense involved. Detecting a tiny change in brightness is easier when the lights are dim. But with very bright lights, it takes a bigger difference to notice any change. The same goes for sounds. If a sound is already loud, you need a bigger increase in volume to notice it's louder. The way our senses respond to these differences is described by Weber's law. It states that the ratio of the JND to the original stimulus stays roughly the same across different levels of intensity. So, if you are feeling a weight of 1 kilogram, you might notice a difference of about 50 grams. But if you are feeling a 10 kilogram weight, you might need to feel a difference of about 500 grams to notice a change. Understanding the difference threshold helps us see how sensitive our senses are. It explains why small changes in our environment might go unnoticed, or why we can detect subtle differences in taste, sound, or light. In everyday life, this knowledge is used by marketers to tweak product features without customers noticing. It also shows how our brain constantly compares new information to what we already perceive. The difference threshold is different from the absolute threshold, which is the smallest amount of stimulus needed for us to detect it at all. The JND is about the smallest change we can perceive once we already notice the stimulus. This concept helps explain how we interpret the world around us and how our senses adapt to constant changes. So next time you notice a slight difference in a song's volume or a new flavor in your food, remember that your brain is constantly working with these tiny perceptual thresholds.